How's it going, everybody? It's KGOKev, as you probably know. And happy 5th anniversary to Your Turn to Die, Death Game by Majority. Alright folks, this video right here is gonna be one for the books. I reached out to like everybody to be in this video. We got fans, we got content creators, cosplayers, artists, streamers, memers, so many people from like all across the Your Turn to Die fandom. Y'all will be seeing quite a few familiar faces all throughout this video, so make sure you watch all the way. You won't believe who we got for this video. And, well, we also got something pretty special at the end. But before then, we got a lot of submissions to go through. Now it's time for the YouTuber stuff. Make sure to like and subscribe. This video took a lot of time and sleepless nights to do. Getting everybody together has taken a lot of effort from my part, but hey, it's worth it. For you, the fans. Cause I love this damn community. Thank you guys for all your support over the years. You guys are not ready, but get ready. With all that said, happy 5th anniversary, folks. We got a lot of submissions, so let's begin. Let's go. I love Your Turn to Die because of the writing of the characters.
I love Your Turn to Die because of Keen. I love how cute and funny he is.
Your Turn to Die helped me find a circle of friends on Discord.
It was tough to pick one thing, but if there's anything I love about Your Turn to Die, it's how each character design has a distinct style for their eyes. I fucking love that, dude.
Your Turn to Die is a very beautiful visual novel, and I really love Alistair Busame.
What I love about Your Turn to Die is the characters. They're so silly and funny. I love the backgrounds as well. They are so pretty.
I love Your Turn to Die for its engaging mystery and for my fluffy boyfriend Maru and Joe. They're just so adorable.
YttD is spectacular because of the existence of Sada.
All the dummies are best boys and girls.
Hi, I'm Guilty Flygon. I played Your Turn to Die, and I was really impressed with its story and its characters, and it had some fun mini-games and some bumpin' music, but we all know the best part is So Hiyori. Kokichi could never. Isn't that right, Miss Sarah?
The alternate routes work well for all playstyles. They are different enough to enjoy playing them all, but each route is interesting on its own as well.
Your Turn to Die is amazing in every way. Congrats, Nankidai.
I came to Your Turn to Die for the Danganronpa vibes, but I stayed for all the tears I shed for those characters. They are just so amazing.
What I like about the game is that they won't hesitate to kill off a child, an older man, or a high schooler. It just shows what the game is all about and gives you what should have happened. I love Your Turn to Die because of how rich the character development is.
I love Your Turn to Die because of the absolute banger of music and story writing.
I love Your Turn to Die's community and all of the amazing people that I have met through it.
One thing I love about Your Turn to Die is how complex the character designs are, so crafting, sewing, and making the cosplays is a really unique experience.
Your Turn to Die is awesome. Nankidai is an amazing writer. He made so many great characters.
We all know why Your Turn to Die is so good, and it comes down to 2 words: my Tsurugi, best doll. Stand me in the back anytime.
I like Your Turn to Die because I like big oily men. I mean KG and Kyutaro.
Okay, so what I love about Your Turn to Die is the characters. They are so funky and cute. Stan Joe, he is so silly.
My favorite thing about Your Turn to Die is Nakamichi Kuramada. I love Nakamichi Kuramada. He is best character.
The main reason I love YttD to the core of my being is Gin Ibushi. I take him as the personification of myself, if not just me.
I love Your Turn to Die for the incredible writing, plot twist, characters, and story. I can tell a lot of love was put into it. Thanks, Nankidai.
Your Turn to Die is really amazing for its characters and how easily it is to relate to all of them. Ranmaru. If you couldn't tell, I love Ranmaru.
I love Your Turn to Die, but Midori haunts my dreams. Send help, unhappy face.
Your Turn to Die has amazing visuals and music that really stands out in my opinion.
I love Gosho Sato's mustache.
Amazing story. First game to make me cry. Kai is best boy, and so is Joe. I like the fact that Your Turn to Die plays with your mind by attaching you to characters that could end up dying. Also, thank you, KGOKev.
The music all slaps and does a great job creating atmosphere.
My favorite thing about Your Turn to Die would have to be how unique the characters are. Like, none of them act the same or look the same, and you don't really see that in a lot of games now.
Your Turn to Die has a very unique art style and amazing character designs for each of the characters.
Kyutaro's big, fat, juicy, goddamn dumpy, my god.
I love Your Turn to Die because of the amazing and interesting character designs, which is why I chose a pic of the maple plushie I made. I like your design the best.
As an autistic person myself, I would love to say that my favorite part about the game was the autistic representation through Gin.
my favorite character.
I love Your Turn to Die because it's given me Ranmaru. Also, Rekko was hot.
I personally love Midori and just the way he plays his role as an antagonist/villain.
Non-Kidai magically makes those typically garish color palettes look good, which is pretty impressive.
Sara's hair and Kyutaro's name gives me life. Happy 5th anniversary.
Your Turn to Die is one of the visual novels that's made an impact on me, and it gets better with every update, honestly. Story, characters, art, music, everything's great about it.
Hi there! The best thing about Your Turn to Die for me is that it is free to play. Also Kai, winky face.
I love Your Turn to Die because the character designs are awesome.
The development for a lot of the characters in the game is great, and it helps you get attached to each and every one of them, especially my Tsurugi, who is now my favourite character because of her character development.
I love Your Turn to Die because of all the amazing memories I got to make while playing it with my sister. Also Shin. He's kinda the best.
Shin Tsukimi ruined my personality. I love this game.
I love the fact that there are roots in Your Turn to Die and to see how they affect the story.
Something I love about Your Turn to Die is that you really just seem to get attached to every character, so the deaths are all soul-crushing. GG's non-Kidai, LOL.
I'm very fond of the old-school 90s point-and-click game aesthetic the game has, which coupled with some interesting characters and a compelling narrative makes for an amazing package. Oh, and I gotta mention the music, don't I? Cool loops.
Your Turn to Die has so many lovable characters, so it hurts when they die. Now a Gokuro did nothing wrong and deserves the world.
I've been in the Your Turn to Die community for about 4 years now, and it truly is a wonderful game. Its art style is unique and its story is wonderfully crafted. Happy 5-year anniversary.
Okay, Your Turn to Die is a lovely game, but I just love Reiko. Reiko, just everything Reiko. She's great. I love her.
I like Your Turn to Die because of the girl boss protagonist.
The community that formed around this excellently written game has made my life that much better.
Your Turn to Die has an amazing horror aspect to it.
I love Your Turn to Die for its endearing yet effective character design, as well as the various game mechanics which really made me smile along the way.
Those who died feel like they left their mark. It doesn't feel like they just died for the sake of dying.
Ranmaru brain rot still go burr. Existence is pain but non-Kidai Twitter drawings makes things okay. Happy birthday, Your Turn to Die.
I really love that the characters are well-rounded and aren't dumbed down to a single gimmicky trope.
I love Ginabusi from Your Turn to Die because he is wholesome, is like a baby brother of mine, and I love the artistic representation.
I like Kimigashine because it's not formulaic and every chapter feels like something new, and I like how player choice makes an impact.
Your Turn to Die never fails to keep me interested in the story. I'm always coming up with new theories.
One thing I love about Your Turn to Die is the fan base itself. I wouldn't have had as many lovely and fun memories without everyone in this community.
I like Your Turn to Die because my YouTube profile pic has been Ranmaru for several months. Nobody can overtake him in power.
Your Turn to Die is such a fantastic experience that I now have developed an unhealthy affinity for buckets. 10 out of 10, would recommend again for trauma. Don't pick flowers, guys, it's a ruse.
I think every single fan can agree that Your Turn to Die's writing is just top-notch. I mean, I hate Midori's writing, yet I still love his writing.
Your Turn to Die is a truly great game. There are lots of things I could list, but I want to fixate on the characters because they have someone for everyone. There is someone for the gays, someone for the straights, someone for the bisexuals, someone for the Americans, of course, someone for the psychopaths who actually identify with Midori for things other than his admittedly pretty good hairstyle. This has actually been working out pretty well for me. Thanks, Nankadai.
I love how Gin's autism is represented in the game, and how none of the characters make a big deal about it. As an autistic person myself, I find the way Gin talks about it extremely realistic and relatable.
I've recommended Your Turn to Die to nearly all my friends due to its diverse cast of characters and gripping, mysterious storyline, peak writing, and my favorite visual novel.
Experiencing the story and characters has been such a unique experience, and I've personally had a lot of fun coming up with voices for everyone, such as Rio Ranger.
I honestly really love how Chapter 2 and 3 can affect the rest of the game depending on who you decide to save and your choices in the mini-games.
I personally just adore the lesbian and possibly also trans representation we get in the Your Turn to Shine side game with Kugi and Ellis.
Thank you, Nankidai, for making Kimigashine. This story and its characters are wonderfully written, and they're very close to my heart, especially so in Sara. I'm super excited for the finale.
I love the positive representation of autism, Your Turn to Die. It's something not often seen in media and it makes me feel seen.
Your Turn to Die is great because the writing alone makes it a fantastic game.
Thank you, Nankidai, for an amazing game. I love Kaisato. I love Your Turn to Die because of Joe Tazuna.
I love the fact that Nankidai added splash art for the other characters from Chapter 2 onward. It's little things like this that make you question why this game is still free.
I love how just when you think the game can't possibly get any better, The next chapter is somehow better in every respect.
Your Turn to Die has such a lovable cast. I can't wait to see where the story will take everyone.
The characters are morally gray and relatable, and their mental states are psychologically accurate. Their trauma feels so real.
My favorites are Alice and Keiji just because, look at them. They are so hot. Oh my god. Ranmaru is love. He's insane, but he's love.
One of the main reasons why I like Your Turn to Die is because Kei Sato, the best eggy male wife of all the time. He's so adorable.
I love Your Turn to Die because of how investing and full of life all the characters are, dynamically and individually, which makes the whole storyline feel even more realistic and entertaining.
One thing I love about Your Turn to Die is Hinabushi. He is so cute. I absolutely love the thinking situations you go through and how it can change your story so you can play multiple times to try out different endings.
One thing I really love about Your Turn to Die is all the also wonderful memes the people of the fandom creates. I mean, look at this. Tell me I'm wrong.
I love absolutely everything about Your Turn to Die. It's amazing in every possible way.
Hey, what's up? Your Turn to Die was being recommended by YouTube, and I cannot express how this game gave me my will to live. I like the character design as well. Depressed but well dressed.
YttD will always have a special place in my heart because it's the first game to successfully make me sob uncontrollably.
All of the men in Your Turn to Die, excluding Kyutaro and Rio Ranger, are very attractive. Most notably Shinsukimi and Kai Sato.
My favorite thing about Your Turn to Die is that sweet, sweet bug redemption arc. Thanks, Kev.
Your Turn to Die is a game with the most well-written plot and characters I've ever seen. It's also built such a good community that is hard to find in other fandoms. Happy 5 years, everyone.
I love Your Turn to Die's story for not having a single throwaway character throughout. You know, you designed your cast perfectly when all the characters have the potential to be at least one person's favorite.
Your Turn to Die actually makes me want the kids to live in the end.
I love Your Turn to Die because Ranmaru exists, and without him, Sheep Maru would have never been born.
Hey everyone, this is Manly Badass Zero, and aside from KG himself, what I like about Your Turn to Die is essentially its kind of diversity in the ages of the cast and their kind of background and roles, because generally these stories are just like a bunch of teenagers kind of like dying or playing the game, and seeing like some adults mixed in, some teachers, some professionals, some non-professionals, kind of adds a certain social dynamic that you wouldn't have otherwise, and I actually really appreciate how that kind of works out.
That's the first 100 down, but we still got a lot of cool peeps left to go.
I love Your Turn to Die because Alice Yabusame is in it.
I love Your Turn to Die cause the characters are also amazing, and KG's big arms.
I love the story and the way it is written. It really makes the viewer engaged in it. Joe Mama, we love Joe. I love Your Turn to Die because of KG's thick, juicy arms. Your Turn to Die is so good because the game has so many touching scenes, but at the same time just constantly reminds the player that they are playing a death game.
I enjoy the art and I really like the plot. It made me cry a lot. I also really like how unique the character designs were.
KG's arms, just everything about him. Just KG's arms. KG's arms.
I love Your Turn to Die because some of the choices you make actually change the course of the story, which I think is going to be very interesting going into the next chapter.
I love Your Turn to Die for all of the ridiculous jokes that end up spawning from the community.
I like how for the characters that die early on in the game, they still have somewhat of an impact later on. Like for Mishima, he keeps dying every single chapter.
I really love Kai Sato. When I first saw him in the game, his character design was really cute.
Joe Tazuna is the best damn character in this game. No disagreements.
The writing for the characters is just so good. I love each and every one of them, even if it just makes the deaths hurt even more. Your Turn to Die has filled their souls with his masterpiece. I'm truly glad to be in this fandom. Y'all the best. Kanekini's take over the world. The character development makes this game one of my favorites. It's super well written. The designs are really cool too.
Something I love so much about Your Turn to Die is the music, especially the exploration tracks. I think they're great at setting the chapter's tone and vibe.
Your Turn to Die has so many unique characters, each extremely well written. The emotions portrayed in the game are also like a punch in the gut, but it's worth it. Drawing the characters and creating my own have become something I love to do. The fandom also got me closer to many people and I've made many friends. And a wife. Hi, Misty. I love Your Turn to Die because of KG. All the amazing characters. I love Your Turn to Die because Hinako is a Sasibaka.
This game has let me meet other fans who are just wonderful people, and I just love Sarah and Joe too.
Your Turn to Die was shown to me by a close friend of mine, and soon went on to become one of my all-time favorite games. It's been an incredible journey watching it from the beginning, and now eagerly awaiting every new update. Thank you, Nankidai.
The character designs and development are well done! This game has become one of my hyperfixations, and I love it so much. My favorite characters are Ka and So, and maybe Midori. I absolutely adore how Ginabushi is written as a character, from his childish demeanor all the way to how his reveal of him having autism. He is so fleshed out and he is personally my favorite character.
Corin here, gonna talk more good things about YttD because it's a pretty amazing game. The art style, oh my goodness! The textures that they use for their art, like it's so good for the clothes, the anonymous, mysterious silhouette, the nightmare version of the sprites, oh my goodness.
Your Turn to Die brought my group of online friends together. I played it with them on stream for my birthday once and it was the best birthday I've ever had to this day. Thank you, YttD. The game's antagonists are pretty cool. Can't help but both love and hate them.
I like how in Chapter 3B, the gang just starts beatboxing while Karamata is dying.
Your Turn to Die is my favorite simply because of the character personalities and how they interact with each other.
I love YttD so much. Everything about it. The plot, the characters, the art. What I like most about it is how unpredictable the storyline is.
Fun villains, but except Midori, because Midori absolutely, positively did absolutely nothing wrong.
Your Turn to Die is so badass because of the characters, the art style, the lore, and the story. And it's so awesome.
I think that the characters from Your Turn to Die are really well written, and that you grow attached to them easily. This also increases our emotional damage, but Gina's alive, so we're fine. Sand. To me, the reason that Your Turn to Die is a good game is because it has good characters, good plot, great world building, and has a lot to it, and it's amazing. KG always saying that he is a policeman every time you talk to him. All the characters so full of life. Like, it feels like they're real. Like, they exist. Midori gives me nightmares. One of my friends got me into Your Turn to Die, and when I started witnessing what was happening in the game, I already loved the characters in the game, and the music was well done, and I just loved the game's art style. It was wonderful knowing Your Turn to Die.
I really love the characters in Your Turn to Die, how they bounce off each other, especially in the main games where death is at every corner.
I love Your Turn to Die because all the characters are so great. Best cast.
One of the reasons I really appreciate Your Turn to Die is because I feel like as each chapter has come out, we've been able to see the game sort of grow. The sprites, the amount of sprites, I feel like all of it has kind of stepped up to a new level. For that and many other reasons, Your Turn to Die is spectacular.
The story is interesting, and I like how the game is focused on all characters' backstories and POVs. A roller coaster of emotions that connects you even more with the characters. Midori. I love how Mishima's death was handled. He died very early, but his character is still important in Chapter 2.
Your Turn to Die is brilliant. Never have I ever seen every part of a video game come together so flawlessly into an original experience I've never known.
My favorite thing about Your Turn to Die is Jinibushi. He's my favorite character and he's just so sweet.
I like seeing Miley get hit with a frying pan. Good on you, Kai, for doing that. Respect. I love Your Turn to Die. Everything in it is spectacular, and Botsun is superior.
I really love how interesting the characters of Your Turn to Die are. Shin and Sarah are my favorites.
I was gonna go on about how much I love the writing for this game, but that took longer than 10 seconds. So instead, I like Keiji's titties. 10 out of 10.
Midori was so much fun as a villain. I've never seen a villain like him before, and he really made Chapter 3 an amazing time.
First thing that caught my eye in YttD, and honestly is still my favorite thing about it, is the art style. Pixel art for the game and the anime style sprites, it works so well, they're so distinct. It's also well-rounded and just chef's kiss. Also, the art lesbian agenda of Nawagokuro.
My favorite thing about Your Turn to Die is the character relations and how each character plays off of each other, like Gin and Kyutaro. Now, tits, 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 tits.
I love Your Turn to Die, but I also love the community and all the friends I've made because of it.
One thing about Your Turn to Die that I haven't talked about is that they're able to keep all of the cast equally memorable despite the fact that this is the twin de cast with members that die early. I believe the game does several awesome tricks in order to pull this off, and it's honestly really impressive.
What I love about Your Turn to Die is how good the writing is, how they really know how to pull at your heartstrings and make you cry. Oh, hey, I'm about to cry right now thinking about it.
Megumi, in my opinion, is an underrated queen. I don't care what anybody says.
I really like the writing and how it really encapsulates everyone's thought process and how it's really makes the characters feel human. It's just a really lovely experience.
I love Your Turn to Die because Midori is an amazingly well-written villain. Also, he's kinda hot.
My favorite thing about Your Turn to Die is literally Ginabushi. Can relate a lot to him. Also, story is really interesting.
Okay, girl, I love Your Turn to Die for a lot of things, but for me its biggest strength will always be its colorful cast and how they're handled in the narrative. But I also love the game for the delicious piece of man meat that is Keiji Shinogi, and I will spread that propaganda.
I love YttD
not only because of its genius idea, but also because of how realistic and complex all the characters are.
I love since there's such a small cast that you're more likely to get emotionally invested into the characters as well as the story.
Gin is just a sweet kid. Gin Protection Squad.
I love Your Turn to Die because Live Laugh Kai Sato.
The characters and the routes. Shin and Kyutaro and how they were developed and reaped throughout the story. And I actually like how the different routes can drastically change the next chapter, and playing both can reveal yet another side to the characters or story. The route I got. Oof.
The thing I love the most about Your Turn to Die is the amazing character writing. Every character has best boy or best girl potential, and this makes every death and plot twist even more interesting.
Hi, I'm Lemon. I love Your Turn to Die because of the characters, the writing, and the atmosphere. It's my favorite game. I highly recommend playing it.
I love Your Turn to Die because it has really memorable characters, like Joe. He's my favorite, and I love Your Turn to Die, and I love him, and I love Your Turn to Die, and I can't wait for the next part.
I love everything about Your Turn to Die, but mainly the writing and how it gets you so invested in the characters and storyline. Even on second or third playthroughs, you just can't look away from the screen. And I think that's amazing.
My favorite thing about Your Turn to Die is the emotionally gut-wrenching scenes. And also Joe.
Your Turn to Die is great because the story, the artwork, the characters, and each of their developments. Also, I personally love that it was made an RPG Maker.
Experiencing the game alongside my friends was really fun. They say I'm like Shin, and I'm not sure whether that's an insult or a compliment.
J'aime beaucoup comment YttD utilise ses limitations comme RPG Maker ou GarageBand pour créer le jeu qu'il veut vraiment créer. Oui, baguette la France RPZ.
My favorite thing about Your Turn to Die is definitely the fan base. I just love watching cool fan theory videos and funny memes made by people who love the game just as much as I do.
Personally, I'm a big fan of Danganronpa and that game in general, so when I first heard about Your Turn to Die, I was sure I would love it. And I did! The characters are super engaging and the storyline is very interesting.
One thing I love about Your Turn to Die is Joe Tazuna. Man, I wish there was a game where he was the main character.
Did I ever mention that Joe Tazuna is my spirit animal?
Kai's sense of humor is top tier.
Oh, it's recording. Okay. Kana's favorite part about the game is...
Kana?
So, Kana was just...
What the hell are you doing? Why do you have that out? No one's allowed to know we have that. We only have a limited amount of battery. Are you trying to kill both of us, Kana?
I love Your Turn to Die because the characters have such different bonds and interactions with each other, and those connections are so important to the game at large.
Hi, Tamil here. So, about me and video games. I've never cried during non-voiced games, but Your Turn to Die changed all that. I freaking bawled my eyes out, and that's a great indication of excellent writing. I just love the writing in that game.
What makes Your Turn to Die a great game? It's the combination of all the aspects that form it. The character development, the storytelling, the character designs, the background music, everything is just amazing. Arigato, Nankidai.
I really like all the characters. Everyone feels as if they're there for a reason. I like how the game explores the effects of the characters' deaths. The story is so interesting and all the characters are pretty. Happy face. I really like Your Turn to Die since we keep getting a lot of pretty complex trials and also because Shin is too.
I love Your Turn to Die because Rekoyabus arme. And the way the characters and choices you make impact my heart and soul.
I love the writing in Your Turn to Die. You really feel for the characters, even if they die really early on. Also the pink-haired lesbian.
I consider Your Turn to Die a masterpiece for the simple fact that Midori is unironically one of the most beautiful things I've ever laid eyes on, and I love him very much.
I love the colorful cast of characters.
I love YttD because Joe is the best bro, and his pep talk to Sar at the end of 2-2 breaks me every time. The reason I like YttD is because of its amazing art, soundtrack, and because it's the reason I met all my friends and boyfriend.
Your choices actually matter when it comes to certain characters.
I absolutely loved the music. It's just banger after banger after banger. The game also gave me depression.
I love Your Turn to Die because I think that KG is great representation for people with PTSD.
As an autistic person, Gin was the rep that little me needed. Bless his heart and thanking on YttD.
When I first found out about Your Turn to Die, I already had my expectations high because of how nice it looks, and it didn't let me down when I played it. The music, the art, the story, the characters, and just everything about it was just amazing, except my favorite characters dying. Also sipping over KG.
The characters, and making them feel like actual legit people. As in, I actually care about them, and I want them to, well, not die. Especially Gin. Wait, what?
The reason I love Your Turn to Die is because of how well thought out the storylines are. They kept me hooked better than any other game I've played. Joe being there was also a plus. And the music is all straight bangers.
I love how YttD inspires people to do so many creative things with the characters they're given. There's so many cosplayers, YouTubers, artists, and writers here that the game inspired, and there's even a musical, and that the cosplayers are so friendly.
The simple action of clicking as fast as you can to save your friend while knowing it's useless really puts you in Sarah's shoes, and it's so gut-wrenching in a way I think is unique to video games. I think the simplicity of the gameplay combined with the complex plot really makes for a great experience, and it's only part of why I love Your Turn to Die.
I played Your Turn to Die when my mental health wasn't great. Once I found out about it, I spent all night playing. I never knew a video game could just pull you in like that. As sappy as it sounds, it helped me a lot.
I like Your Turn to Die because it's the first ever game to have Ranmaru Kageyama in it. If I could rewrite the entirety of Your Turn to Die, everyone would be Ranmaru. Kyutaro would be buff Ranmaru, Keiji would be hot Ranmaru, Reiko would be emo Ranmaru, now it would be busty Ranmaru. God, the floor, the walls, and the ceiling would be Ranmaru.
I love Your Turn to Die because of its amazingly written and likable characters and its emotional story that brings tears to my eyes every time I replay it.
I love everything about this game, from the amazing writing to the great characters. Hashtag Game Protection Squad. Also imagine having a 0% chance of surviving a death game. Lolololololololol.
Me encanta la variedad que tienen los personajes.
My favorite Your Turn to Die character is Reiko. She is so hot.
I love YttD because of its storytelling and visuals. It has influenced my art a lot, from its game mechanics to its characters. I love Your Turn to Die because Kana Kazuchi is in it and the art is amazing. 10 out of 10.
The characters are all so well written, and Midori is hot.
Shinsukimi. Do I need to say more? He is one of my all-time favorite characters of all time.
Joe Tazana is the only reason why my friend group exists. Limao.
Hey, small man, guitar hamburger man. I just love his Red Dead Redemption arc in Chapter 3. Storytelling's on point, in my opinion.
It's the first game in a while that has made me cry in front of someone. The Kanaru made me want to bawl my eyes out.
I barely even know why I love Your Turn to Die myself. It's very descriptive, and the characters stand out to me a lot, which makes me gain attachments and all. I just love it a lot.
Gin is the coolest guy on the planet Earth and maybe Mars. Also, hi Mom.
Your Turn to Die is one of my favorite cast of characters, and an intriguing storyline that I've grown attached to over the years.
The characters are so realistic, and I relate to literally almost half the cast.
Your Turn to Die strives to be better than the death game novels that came before it.
The character development is definitely the best thing about the game. Freaking Kyutaro from 0 to 100. Sarah's still a mystery as the main character, and now somehow has these cantaloupes still growing.
I really love how the characters are written. I can't help but genuinely care for them, and have definitely cried once or twice about them.
Your Turn to Die to me is the game that you come in expecting it to be insane, but you don't realize the extent until you're actually in it and playing it. I love how you can never really predict exactly how the plot is going to go, nor how your decisions may affect the story. I absolutely love Your Turn to Die, and I'm looking forward to where the story goes next.
I love Your Turn to Die because it helped me get close to some of my closest friends, and also gave me an excuse to hang out with my current boyfriend, so thank you so much for existing Your Turn to Die.
One thing I love about Your Turn to Die is how, real all the characters feel and how lovable each of the cast members are.
I really love how the dolls affect the players so much, even though it's not real. I can feel the hatred towards them like they're real evil people. I also love the players too. Let's just say I'm a Sohiyori fan. Thank you, Your Turn to Die by majority vote crew.
There is no debate, this is the correct opinion. KG is the best Danganronpa character. Your friendly law enforcer man is what keeps me going while playing Your Turn to Unalive. Those big arms, those massive titties, and those eyes you can get lost in. I love Your Turn to Die. I love seeing fictional characters who I get emotionally attached to brutally fucking
I like the personalities of all the characters, and I also like their designs.
I love everything about this game, especially the way it makes you feel while playing.
All of the characters, they're all very interesting and unique, and I loved learning about all of them.
What made Your Turn to Die stand out for me was the main cast. From Kana's and Kyutaro's character development to uncovering Kai and Keiji's past, we get to slowly know about the characters' underlying motives and are there to watch their growth. In the end, everyone is trying their best to achieve what they believe is right. They're all my comfort characters, especially Joe Mama for real. Happy anniversary, Your Turn to Die. The characters are really well designed and thought out, and the plot is just the cherry on top. Even some of the antagonists I grew to like a lot. I especially love how this game has branching choices since it makes the player feel more involved in the story. Keep up the good work, Nakadai. P.S. The little doodles that you post on your Twitter, the cast are the cutest. It's outstanding how Kimigashine is so intriguing and complex, but not overly confusing in the slightest. It really shows how much effort was put into this game, so thank you to Nakadai. I love how the community has gotten this big. Anyway, the characters are really cool, and I like how diverse they are. I love how compared to other death games, Your Turn to Die really makes you feel each death, even for characters you don't really like. You still feel something other than, dang, I like that one. YttD has meant so much to me in the last couple of years I've been in this fandom. I absolutely adore the character designs. I even cosplay Joe Tasana, and the writing as a whole. I can't wait to see what happens in the years to come. I got into YttD a couple years ago, and it's always had a special place in my heart. From characters to storyline to gameplay, it's a game that I'll always repeat no matter what. I've only recently started contributing to the community via fan arts, but they're some of the nicest people ever. I'm very happy to see the game thrive, and I'm glad that there are people who enjoy it like I do. There isn't just one thing I love about YttD. The way characters are characterized, the art style, the music, the story, everything is just perfect. What I love about YttD is YttD itself. As sad as they are, I love the unique deaths. I just don't know how Nankidai comes up with them. When I took my pen to write notes of my favorite things about YttD, I couldn't find anything specific. The game is perfection. Also, KG is husband, no material.
The fan content. There's never going to be another period in my life where I roleplay as Meister walking in on a participant and Floor Master making out. Participating in a main game on a Discord call is also very fun until you get the sacrifice card every single round.
I love Your Turn to Die because we got Kaisato butt cheeks.
My favorite thing about Your Turn to Die is the characters and how all of them have very interesting backstories, and how even the most annoying and hateable characters have good character arcs.
Your Turn to Die made me love Joe so much that I both laugh and cry every time I read his Wikipedia page.
I really can't put into words how great Your Turn to Die is in the short time. It's that good!
Your Turn to Die is one of my favorite games because there really is just so much to it. The storyline has so much depth to it, the art style is amazing, and there really is nothing like it, so thank you Nankidai for creating a one-of-a-kind game.
Your Turn to Die is my favorite because it has this adorable character named Ginabushi. Also, the music is amazing.
Hey, this is Geo Brandflix, and I'm here to say that I love Kyutaro Berkeberg. He's a funny little guy. Now, funny little dude, especially him and his little wife, Mai. Quite comedic.
I love all the unique games, and Your Turn to Die and Memory Dance is the best.
With the characters, the story, the music, Your Turn to Die impacted my life. Thanks, Nankidai, and the dear people I met because of it.
I love Your Turn to Die very much because of Maple. Purely Maple.
Your Turn to Die has been one of the most innovative games I've ever had the fortune of playing. And one of the aspects I believe makes this experience so compelling is the creative concept of the main game. The way so many different outcomes are possible to the game, and the way the different characters can implement different strategies to change the course of the game entirely, is just one of the largest facets that makes people fall in love with Your Turn to Die.
Just gonna take this time to remind you to like and subscribe if you haven't. This video, as you can probably tell, took a lot of time to do. So, yeah, that'd be much appreciated. Please do so. I didn't realize that it's already the 5th anniversary. I'm really glad that I find out about this amazing game. The fandom is so amazing. I love YttD because of the characters, and the game was super fun for me to play.
One reason I love YttD is because of Hinaka Mishuku. I think it's really cool.
I gotta say, Your Turn to Die is probably the best traumatic experience I have ever had.
I love Your Turn to Die. It's such a cool game with amazing lore and characters.
I really like this fandom. Before I joined, I didn't have any friends, but ever since I did, I've gotten friends. And a wife. Winky face. Gina's best boy. That's it. I love how Your Turn to Die got me to go from hating Shin to adoring him in the span of 5 minutes. Honestly, the character designs are some of the best and most creative I've ever seen. They're not basic or cliche in any way, and they never cease to amaze me.
I think pretty much all the character dynamics are really well written, especially in cases like Island Mode where you get to see one-on-one interactions. Every single combination of them seemed really interesting and well written.
All the characters are just so good, and they're so well written, and I just love every single one of them. Except for Midori, but he is a well-written villain.
I love YttD because of how well written the characters are and how their relationships with one another deeply impact their thoughts and actions.
One thing I really love about Your Turn to Die is that the game somehow manages to never let you stop thinking about it in a world due to the cast, series and the story.
Your Turn to Die is able to make irrelevant characters interesting, and I found that amazing. I think Your Turn to Die is chaotic in the best way possible, and it still somehow manages not to be cluttered.
Your Turn to Die is my special interest, and I spend 90% of my time thinking about it, and 70% of that is about the Beanie Man.
The thing I love the most about Kimigashine is how our choices can affect the whole game, and that makes it way more immersive. My favorite thing about Your Turn to Die is how intricately the story and characters are written. I love the entire soundtrack, how at times it can be bumping, and other times anxiety-inducing. 2 things I love about YttD is that Midori is a great villain, and the music is a bop.
One of many things I enjoyed in this game was that even what seems to be a minor choice can change your experience in a big way.
I love Your Turn to Die because it gives most people enough time to stand out. I love YttD because Alice is my favorite tiny-handed husbando. I really love the plot and how cool the character designs are. I love Your Turn to Die's cast of heroes, villains, and in-betweens. Each displays a unique approach to survival, trust, vulnerability, and control. It's impossible to choose just one favorite character within this brilliantly written game.
Your Turn to Die is my favorite visual novel game because of its mysteries, and making theories with the community in order to understand those mysteries is a unique experience.
I love Your Turn to Die because the characters have a chokehold on my brain and I'm in love with all of them. They're all so fun and silly.
I really like the immersion the choices bring to the game. It really helps me get into Sara's shoes when dealing with stressful situations. The banquet! I love Your Turn to Die because of the amazing cast of characters, all with their own individuality and overall coolness. Please finish the game, please. It's my only life support.
I love Shintsukimi! Also, Gin is pretty cool. The characters are great, they're very fleshed out, the choices you make matter. The art style, the programming of it, the coding, the writing is great. It's an amazing story. Amazing game overall. But yeah, KG. Just KG.
I love how the intro goes from really interesting to slow to OMG WTF. I just love how it instantly hooks you into it.
In YttD, Sara and Joe's best friend dynamic is and always will be my #1 favorite.
My favorite thing about Your Turn to Die is KG's big, beautiful arms and the plot.
I love Your Turn to Die because I think Nao is one of the most awesome characters I ever encountered in any video game.
I love Alice Yabusame. Alice is the best. Alice is my life, and Alice is the only character that matters in YttD. Oh, and I guess the others were cool too.
I love Your Turn to Die for being my everything awakening. LOL.
I really love how the fanbase is so dedicated. We have memers, streamers, and some of the best fan art I have ever seen. I also love the videos and the content people make. One thing I love about YttD that no one really focuses on in the community are the values of the cards in the main games and how much weight they hold on the players' lives.
I adore the characters, their designs, their arcs, how they interact, and how they complement the story or each other, and also how all of this still works no matter the route. Also, Sara, best protagonist, and I can fight for that.
The art and just the overall feel of the game is so unique and recognizable. Plus, the characters and the writing make this game such a masterpiece.
I love Your Turn to Die mainly because of the characters and the amazing story, but the thing I love the most is the best boy of all time, Genebushi.
I like Your Turn to Die because I live, laugh, love, Reika Oyabusa Armei.
The different routes gives each character something to be theorized about, especially with the So route.
Your Turn to Die has a very engaging story and interesting characters, make it one of the best visual novels.
As a big brother with a rocky relationship with their little sister, Alice's story blew my fucking gut out.
I adore the character dynamics in this game. I have said, I wish I was one of them many times when playing this game. Somebody be the Joe to my Sara, please.
The Yabusame's siblings, they're so stylish, bro.
The way your choices and actions actually affect the story in Your Turn to Die is really cool. It honestly does this better than a lot of games that feature choice and consequence as one of their main selling points.
Hey guys, Weeby News here, and I absolutely love Your Turn to Die, and there's a lot of reasons why. But the main thing I really appreciate it is how the game is able to make all the characters feel fleshed out and intrinsic to the plot. For example, Mishima was the first of the main group to die, and I kind of expected him to be like a filler character because of it. But through the realistic portrayal of Nao's grieving over him and AI Mishima showing up, I was able to learn a lot about him post-death, and I feel like most games and shows that kill off characters early fail to do this, which is why I really appreciate the effort that non-Kadai put into this.
Well, I do feel like Your Turn to Die changed my life for the better. The tears just don't stop.
I love Your Turn to Die cause of awesome characters, the well-structured plot, the simple yet good music, the YouTubers, and cause Sara is hot. But why can't Keen die? Why isn't Botsun in the game? I can't forgive non-Ki-Die.
Your Turn to Die is the best, because KG and Reko are hot.
Your Turn to Die is epic because both of the Yabusames are hot AF like damn Alice, damn Reiko. I love Your Turn to Die because all the characters are distinct and feel fleshed out.
Thank you, non-Kidai. Great game, and the soundtrack is just perfect. I love Your Turn to Die because of Joe Mama PP69 Wicked Face. He's a great villain and very memeable. The game is so special to me because of all the passion and soul put into it. This one guy made a love letter to a genre he enjoys that's so well written, it still has us on the edge of our seats 5 years later. My favorite part about Your Turn to Die is getting to play as a female protagonist that isn't boring and that doesn't die, just so a male can be a protagonist.
One thing that makes Your Turn to Die great is that its characters have a lot of depth to them.
Your Turn to Die is one of the best visual novels I've ever played. Also KG's daddy.
I love how Your Turn to Die basically forces you to get attached to the characters. Pretty much all of them are lovable in some way. Coming off of a recent playthrough of Danganronpa 2, I can clearly see which game has better writing. And it's Your Turn to Die for sure. The music in Your Turn to Die is great. Each song adds perfectly to the scene it plays in. Amazing job, non-Kidai. I love Your Turn to Die for many reasons, but mainly just Kai Sato and his lovely, lovely frying pans.
What I love most about Your Turn to Die is simply
Kai's existence. He is such a sad but amazing character and I love him.
My favorite thing about Your Turn to Die probably has to be how every little thing there seems to have some sort of purpose. I mean, if you played Chapter 3, you know what I'm talking about. Oh, and shoutouts to my second favorite thing being Reiko Yabusame.
Midori, just Midori, in his beauty, in his grace.
I mean, other than Midori's luscious locks, I've gotta say the music in the game is slapping so hard. I would listen to that stuff all day.
I love how Your Turn to Die manages time between the cast, as I feel like every character has a well-defined role in the story.
私が君が死ねが好きな理由は人間の感情と絶望感がとてもよく描かれているからです。ちょっと暗いかもしれませんが、5周年おめでとうございます。
The music and art is amazing. It numbs the feelings of pain when your favorite character dies. I like how even if the character died in the very beginning, they still have a major impact on later events in the story, and how even the characters we never met still had a lot of story to them, and feel like more than extras who died off screen.
I like the fact that you can write your own story by making different choices.
Hi, I'm Josh. I don't know if I need to say that. My favorite moment of Your Turn to Die was when I got the best ending, when Kyutaro was like, "Fuck all y'all bitches, I'm leaving the fuck out so I can go to my shift at McDonald's."
I love Your Turn to Die because of the characters and story that is in this game. Showing that characters are important after death and that no matter what, they will make a huge impact always works well for me. This would be a game I recommend to anyone wanting to play a good visual novel.
The way Kimigashine is able to balance having choices that matter for the story and characters while also having completely hopeless scenarios is narrative genius, and I love that about it.
This game made me cry. The characters' reactions to the death of someone they love. It hits me in the feels. It feels so genuine. Even I start to think, will I be like them if I lose someone too?
I love Kaisotte Tosasa.
I really like YttD because of the art style and the writing. It feels like the characters are real people in a death game. But for the art style, I just like it because it looks cool.
Coming from a former JoJo fan, Godoro was my favorite character, and the Godoro was the best game we made.
I love the diversity of age ranges and backgrounds given for each character, as it always comes into use later in the story. All these characters are so fucking scrunkly, and even the ones I don't like have something interesting about them. I love Your Turn to Die because Sara is the best. And the music is pretty cool too. The way Your Turn to Die makes me cry every 2 seconds is the thing I love the most about the game. What I really like about Your Turn to Die is the storyline. Some parts really got me on the edge of my seat, and some parts made me cry. Safala and Maple are my favorite characters. Hey, this is Andrew. So some reasons why I love YttD, because the art style is really cool, and the characters are absolutely hilarious. Your Turn to Die is great because it feels like your actions in game have consequences. Your Turn to Die is one of the best games I've played, and it's one of my most favorite of all time. The characters are so well written, and everyone feels more like real people. Everyone undergoes character development, and it did so well with the characters that I don't hate a single one of them. The best part is, it's not even done yet. There's more times to feel happy, sad, angry about, and to just cry. I want to tell more, but it takes pages. Please play YttD if you haven't. Please. It's amazing.
I absolutely love the art. It is so gorgeous and so pretty. It's so satisfying to look at too. Makes the gameplay really enjoyable.
I love Your Turn to Die because Alice, heart eyes emoji. I love the amount of theories you can make between chapters and parts because the mystery is so damn good. Also Botsun, yeah sure, haha funny. I heavily enjoy the relationships and connections that the characters have with each other. I love how the story is unique and the puzzles are fun and interesting. Ka Sato, he deserved better and I like how his character is written. Thank you, Nanki Dai.
I really like Midori's personality. I just think it's amazing.
Your Turn to Die is one of the best games ever thanks to the characters and the themes.
Plus, Kana is supreme!
I love Your Turn to Die for its soundtrack and unique game mechanics.
As a cosplayer, one of my favorite things about this game is the character designs. They're so bright and they have so many distinct details for each character, and it can be kind of challenging to put together costumes for it, but in the end I think that being able to interact with the cosplay community and fans of this game really makes it all worth it.
I love how stressed out YttD's music makes you during the main game.
I love everything in Your Turn to Die, but the story and characters are the best.
I like the characters in the plot. When it was my first time watching a playthrough, I was like, who's gonna die? And all that. Also, I can't decide which route I like since they have their own pros and cons. Overall, I really enjoyed the game. I like Your Turn to Die because it has a very memorable and diverse cast of characters. My personal favorite is Mishima, and it's interesting how you can choose your own path at certain points in the story.
The hot men. I guess the women are hot too.
I love the story. It's really well written.
All the characters actually matter, and even the dead participants are unhateable.
I like the developments throughout the game with most of the characters, especially the one and only Burger Man, Kyutaro himself.
My favorite thing about Your Turn to Die would definitely be the characters, especially Mai, Kitaro, and Keiji. I cannot get enough of those three. I love all the characters so much.
I love how well written the characters are and how they change.
I like Your Turn to Die because, well, what can I say? Keen is best boy.
I love Your Turn to Die because I adore Kyutaro.
Your Turn to Die is an amazing game because Joe Tazna made me cry more than once.
Your Turn to Die is wonderful because of its perfectly plotted storyline. Truly original and immersive.
I love how emotional the death theme can get, and also the deaths really add something to the story. Like the character keeps on living after the death.
My boyfriend and I met through Your Turn to Die and bonded over the fact that we both love Nao's and Mishima's characters. They're both very kind and have a well-developed bond as a mentor and student.
I love Kimigashine because all the female characters are always girl bossing.
I like Your Turn to Die because I simp for KG. Of course not. I really like the writing of Kana as well.
I love YttD's characters. The way they interact with each other, their backstories, and growth are just the best.
I like Your Turn to Die because of its amazing community, smiley face. I love Your Turn to Die, but I would like to point out how well written each character is. For example, Rio Ranger. It was fascinating how they were able to feel inferiority even when they would act so full of themselves. Even the bond of the Yabasame siblings really represents something many pairs of siblings can relate to.
I love how every character's death is impactful to both the story and the other characters. Liked or not, each character made at least half the fans cry.
I think Your Turn to Die is one of the best games I've ever played in my life. I've gotten way too attached to Kai and Alice and I love them.
Your Turn to Die definitely piqued my interest from the get-go. Psychological horror, murder mystery, phenomenal music and characters, and I just love how insane everything is.
One thing that I love about Your Turn to Die is the variety of gameplay. Every chapter offers something new and it keeps things fresh. It's the perfect complement to an amazing story.
The fact that Maple exists, that's it. I just love her.
Happy 5th anniversary to YttD. One thing I love about YttD is definitely the lore. It's just vague enough to give us enough material to make amazing theories.
Happy 5th birthday, Your Turn to Die. I'm so happy I found this wonderful game, and the amount of fun it's brought me and so many others is truly spectacular.
One of my favorite things about Your Turn to Die are the character designs and how colorful and stylized they are. Especially the dolls. Nankadai really went all out on those. Keep up the good work, man.
I have a handful of things I like about this game, but the artwork really stands out for me.
Joe Tazna has some of the best fashion sense in the game, and I stand by that fact. Thanks, Nankadai, and happy 5th anniversary. I love Now. That's it. That's the whole submission.
I love the music, and the fact that it's mostly made in GarageBand is impressive.
I personally love Your Turn to Die is because the Yabusamis are hot. I really relate to Sarah and most of the characters.
I love the characters, especially Now, and I love the art and plot as well. I absolutely love how I can't play this game without any emotional or mental support. That's how good this masterpiece of a game is. Good job, Nankadai. Winky face. How it has the ability to make Mishima the best character of all time in such a short amount of time. I really liked the character development seen in many of the characters as the story progressed. It has shown that given the circumstances, they can still change.
Your Turn to Die is great, because every time I look at Keiji's chest, it gives me whiplash. Thank you for making this sexy behemoth of a man.
I love the scene between Joe and Sara in the emotion route at the end of Chapter 2. I love YttD because of Joe. Every character must sacrifice their life to Joe Tazna. If I catch them not sacrificing their life to Joe Tazna, they will deeply regret their life choices.
I love the first half of every chapter. The minigames and the exploration in between are great.
One thing I don't see talked about a lot is the tech speed-up feature by holding space or alt. Not only does it allow you to speed through the game or recover your progress fairly quickly if your game crashes, but it's also extremely fun and chaotic because 1 second you'll be talking to Shin, and the next second he'll be laying fat, it'll just be dead on the ground. Funny!
I love Your Turn to Die because of the characters, especially Maple and Anzu. Heart emoji.
One of my favorite parts of Your Turn to Die is how the game's art style fits so much with the horror aspects of the game. Rio Ranger is hell incarnated.
I feel that along with our reaction to the deaths being so big, so are the actual characters' reactions. They really do change over time, which is something you don't see often nowadays, oddly enough.
I love YttD because of Midori. His entire existence makes me happy.
Why I love Your Turn to Die so much is because the plot, art style, and OST are all phenomenal. Then there's also Riko Yabusame.
One of the many things I love about Your Turn to Die is the fact that we're near the end of the game, yet there are still so many mysteries. Who's Sarah? Who's behind our scenario? Who is Joe?
Hey guys, Jimbo, aka Johnny Awesome here, to talk about what I love about Your Turn to Die. To be frank, I'm not a big indie guy. I listen to country and rap exclusively. Additionally, I don't play a lot of indie games. That is, until Your Turn to Die. A story created by just one individual having so much success, at least in my inner circle, is just nothing short of a miracle and a real testament in which video games can be like in the modern era. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
We're about halfway through the submissions, but we still got a ways to go. Let's keep it up.
Miss Sarah, you are so level-headed and mature. Kai's band skills make me feel all warm and secure. I wish Mishima was my teacher. If there was the Church of Reiko, I'd also be a preacher.
I love Your Turn to Die because of Sarah. She knows the way of the blade.
The way it makes the characters all stand out is amazing, and I absolutely love the soundtrack of it. KG is my favorite character. I'm always looking forward to new Your Turn to Die content, definitely one of my favorite games. Here's to another year for YttD. Reko is the best girl of the whole game. I love Anzu Kanashi. She makes me feel the happy chemical.
Your Turn to Die is awesome, because who doesn't love a good death game?
I love Your Turn to Die because of all the unique and interesting characters.
The main thing I love about Your Turn to Die is the characters, and my favorite character is Kai, of course. Whenever I found out I was trans, I of course took my name after him because I thought he was amazing.
The subject matter, concept and themes are brilliant. No one is safe from the lore or the tears.
I thought this would be low budget, Danganronpa, but I cried more. And Hayasaka is a dill.
Why I love Your Turn to Die so much is because the plot, art style, and OST are all phenomenal. Then there's also Riko Yabusame.
I think what I love about Your Turn to Die is Nankirai's ability to string together a story from individual elements and still make it flow and be interesting. Well, also so Hiyori, but you know.
Your Turn to Die's music is awesome, and Your Turn to Die is my favorite game. I love YttD because Sara and Anzu are the best characters.
Your Turn to Die is so good that I want to punch Midora to celebrate it. He is just very punchable. Apologies.
I started playing Your Turn to Die back in 2020, and the game really helped me get through those tough times. The characters in the story got me invested pretty quickly, combined with the fun puzzles and gameplay that forced me to produce more brain juice than I usually do, and yeah, seriously, had a blast playing the game. Cheers to the 5th anniversary! It really is an incredibly designed game. The characters, the story, the music, it's all perfect. Will forever be one of my absolute favorites.
I love Your Turn to Die because Nankidai wrote the anti-heroes really well, from the really evil ones to the ones that are not so bad on the inside.
I love Your Turn to Die because the hard work put into it and the designs are worth loving.
Hey, so you probably don't know me, but I'm a huge Your Turn to Die fan, and people usually ask why do I like Your Turn to Die, and I swear I'm not a simp. I think I like the plot.
I love Your Turn to Die because of the great plots, and Kai Sato's good looks. YttD is great because the cast is really well thought out. The reactions and choices are always fun to theorize about, with a great amount of hits dropped throughout the series. Also, I could stare at the CGs for days.
What I like about Your Turn to Die is Alice's and Reiko's relationship. Their sibling dynamic is amazing, and I love them.
First of all, thank you so much, Nankidai, for this incredible game, and Kev, thank you for playing it. I love how the characters evolve throughout the series. It's so well written.
I love Your Turn to Die because of the amazingly written story, of course, but also because the character designs are so fun to cosplay.
I love how the way Your Turn to Die develops its story feels so real and authentic. Every action has a purpose, no character or loss is forgotten, and it's so easy to become connected to the game and every character's development.
Despite the tragic nature of this game, it's cool how Nankidai still manages to have fun with his inspiring characters through comics and especially Your Time to Shine.
Reko is the reason I realized I like women. I love Your Turn to Die and its amazing cast of characters. Each character is so unique in their own ways, and not to mention the character development arcs are so chef's kiss. Gaining Reko supremacy. I love YttD because of the characters, specifically Alice Yabusame. I love everything about him, from his pasty white skin to his multicolored hair to his bulging biceps to his fat, let's just say, I believe in Alice supremacy. Happy face.
YttD has an amazing cast, but my favorite character would be Kinibushi. He stays compassionate till the very end, even if his life is at risk.
What I like about Your Turn to Die is the story, characters, and music, especially in Chapter 3, as I wonder what would happen next in the future.
When it comes to the characters, they are quite fun to draw, as you can see.
My favorite part of Your Turn to Die is probably the community.
Things like the fan games and the musicals are just all so inspiring.
I love Your Turn to Die because of the amazing characters, writing, and atmosphere, and also KG's massive sexy arms.
YttD has been one of the best and most consistently well-written cast of characters I've seen in a while. My personal favorites being Mai and Gin, who I love and adore everything about them, both character and design-wise, along with them being helpful comfort characters during a rough patch in my life, which I'm extremely happy for.
One thing that I definitely love about Your Turn to Die is the art style. They all have different faces and look really cool.
I really love Your Turn to Die's art style. I don't know why, it's just an art style I've always wanted. Also, I love Sheep Boy.
Midori's Scylla Dance. Do I have to say more? Scylla Dance is cool.
What I really like about Your Turn to Die is the CGs and sprites. I like the art style, it's unique, cool, and I like it.
I love Your Turn to Die for the amazingly creative character design, the music, the story that made me cry multiple times, and KG.
And I love the overall art direction of the game, which helped give those characters more life, and my daughter Kana. Sweet, sweet child.
I love YttD for its story and characters, especially Kana.
One of my favorite moments in Your Turn to Die is the bond between Q-Taro and Gin. I love the way it progressed until the first half of Chapter 3.
I have to say, Joe, he's iconic, funny, and sweet. You know how hard it is to say that your favorite is dead since the first chapter. I will never recover from that.
I really like Your Turn to Die because of the gameplay, the characters, and that's still the emotion that comes from it. I also really like annoying my friends to play the game.
If I listed all the things I liked about YttD, I'd be here for a while. But Joe Tasana? Joe is love, Joe is life. If it wasn't already obvious, I adore him. Your Turn to Die has been incredibly important to me for the past couple of years, and I have so many wonderful memories from being in the fandom. Thank you for everything, Nankidai. I love YttD because of the writing and the characters.
I love Your Turn to Die because of the deep connections the characters actually have with each other, and Botsun. I love Botsun too.
Your Turn to Die helped me and so many others through some tough times in life, and the community flourishing around it is unlike any other. Thanks, Nankidai, for making it possible.
My favorite aspect of the game is definitely the characters as a whole, and seeing how they interact and handle the situation. Though my personal favorite is Sara, as she has moments of fear, despair, and panic that seems believable and realistic for a person given the situation.
Your Turn to Die's music is some of the best video game music ever. I played at my funeral because then it really would be my turn to die.
I love everything about the game. The story is awesome and has great characters. The best quality Your Turn to Die is clearly the characters. They seriously didn't need to go so hard, but they did, and I'm happy about it. I love Your Turn to Die because of the way it just shatters my hopes and dreams with every new chapter. Your Turn to Die has my favorite cast of characters ever. I love all of them, especially Shin.
I really love the simplicity of Rearrange's character. He just shows that sometimes you don't need a convoluted backstory or complex motivations to make a good character.
I love Midori. Also, I used to hate Shin.
What I love most about Your Turn to Die are KG's the opportunity to engage with the community.
One of the many things I love about YttD is the nostalgic feeling the art style gives me. It reminds me of those old games I'd randomly come across while on the school computers. I love the writing and how easily the story hooks you in and keeps you interested, as well as how each character is unique and interesting in their own ways.
The writing, overall setting, music, and characters. Everything together makes this wonderful gem I'm grateful to have stumbled upon. Thanks for this roller coaster of emotions.
Well, I love Your Turn to Die because of the two routes you could choose from. And yes, I did choose Logic route. Angst all the way.
This sounds pretty ironic now, but thank you for all the emotional torture. It's great.
My favorite part of Your Turn to Die is Maple's discussion room and also Joe Morrow. Thank you.
What I enjoy about Your Turn to Die is the delving into morality, especially in the situation the characters are in right now.
I like Your Turn to Die because the characters are super cool. It also made me cry like no other game has done before. Happy face. I also love Gin!
I absolutely love the music for Your Turn to Die. Nankidai really popped off with the garage band loops. Like, okay, Nankidai, I see you.
Your Turn to Die has an amazing soundtrack, and plot twist that makes us change our opinion about each character faster than Yoshimi is dead. And finally, but not least, KG's arms.
I like Your Turn to Die because it has Kaisato, and also because it's pretty much like Danganronpa, but better.
Everything. I just love everything about Kimigashine, especially Gin. He is just adorable.
Your Turn to Die has really helped me in my life, and I'm really glad that I found it. It has amazing art, a wonderful cast, and really catchy and enjoyable music. Definitely my favorite game by a landslide.
I like Your Turn to Die because it's as good as Zero Escape. Play Zero Escape.
All the obvious things aside, like the plot and the characters, I love the game for how it makes you feel, the emotions and the angst behind it. I also love Ranmaru.
My favorite part about Your Turn to Die is the character development and the writing of the story.
Got hooked into Your Turn to Die because of Joe Mama and Zoe's juicy collarbone.
I'm a sucker for Kimigashine's writing. To nail down one thing, I like how selfishness in the characters is not black and white, it's a spectrum and it swings depending on the situation.
Kimigashine has some of my favorite character development scenes that I've seen in a death game, and designs. Shout out to Nao and Anzu. You guys are my favorite.
Your Turn to Die is by no means a perfect game. However, the well-written characters, intriguing atmosphere, and unique art still more than make up for all of the game's flaws.
Sometimes I forget about this game, but it's so good I always end up playing it again.
Between music, art, sound effects, writing, and character design, Your Turn to Die has an amazing atmosphere and it makes you fall in love with these characters and really feel for them in the perilous situations that they're in. Happy 5th anniversary, Your Turn to Die.
I like Your Turn to Die because of how relatable, well-written, and likable Sarah is as a protagonist.
I love Your Turn to Die because of its unique storyline. I love YttD so much because of lore, writing, and mystery. The characters are the best part with their personality and expressions, which is why I also enjoy drawing each one. It's so much fun. Especially Gin was my favorite most of all, and will die for him. Hashtag Gin Protection Squad.
The thing I love the most about Your Turn to Die are the characters, and how well they work together as a cast.
I love Gin. He's a moral support for Sara and the others. Hashtag Game Protection Squad. I love the complexities of Kai and Shin's stories. They need more fan art, preferably lewd. Your Turn to Die death game by majority literally slays. YttD has been a huge creative inspiration to me. It will always remain near and dear to my heart. I love basically everything about Your Turn to Die. Nakadai really did an amazing job, so props to him, but I always enjoyed the OST and was quite shocked when I found out it was all made on GarageBand. I also think the music should be appreciated so much more. The tracks range from ominous to energetic, but yet they're all still bops. I love Your Turn to Die because me and my brother got something to bond over.
Your Turn to Die is a really good game because I like the way that the characters are well scripted, and I really like the creator as well.
This is Keitsu. I just want to say thank you, Nakidai, for making such an amazing game with an amazing community. Thank you so much for making Your Turn to Die. Good luck in the future.
I love Alice! Short fun fact, I cut and I dyed my hair once after him. Just the blue. He is my pride and joy.
I've been a fan since the completion of Chapter 1, and I still can't believe this was all made in RPG Maker.
I love the way everyone in the English-speaking fandom pronounces the characters' names totally differently. I think it's hilarious.
I love that it was initially designed to be a horror game with retro aspects. Nankadai did an amazing job of creating tension, surprise, and heartfelt moments for the player.
One thing I love about YttD is the community. It's so small, yet so wholesome. I've yet to meet a toxic YttD fan.
Your Turn to Die is the only media with Ranmaru Kageyama in it.
The characters of Your Turn to Die are the most fun characters I've ever cosplayed. From making way too many food-related accessories to learning new techniques in wig styling and makeup, I owe a lot to Your Turn to Die as a cosplayer. What I love the most, though, are the friends I've made and the content I've shared throughout my time in this community. I think my best work and my closest friendships have come to life because of it. I love introducing others to this game, and it brings me so much joy to see my friends having fun with it just as much as I have throughout the years.
Hi, I'm Emo, and Your Turn to Die is an excellent game with hilarious woods, perfected characters, and most of all, impressively detailed mental representation. Keep it up!
I love Your Turn to Die because of all the goddamn angst it gave us in the 3rd chapter, and because of Kaiji.
From the plot to the character to the settings, there's just so much to love about Your Turn to Die, and honestly, I'm just glad that I got to experience it.
I love Your Turn to Die because it reawakened my love for himbos and bad boys.
From thrilling twists to bitter moments to awesome characters, Your Turn to Die is the gift that just keeps on giving.
Your Turn to Die is hip and cool because of KGOKev.
I love Your Turn to Die because of the concept, characters, and how the game psychologically messes with me.
Your Turn to Die is my favorite game of all time, mainly because it has Midori, and he's just a complete menace to society, for no reason.
I love YttD because it's such an interesting and wonderfully fun game. Thank you to everyone for making something so amazing. I love YttD because I can relate to the characters. I have noodle arms that can't do push-ups like So, autism like Gin, and I can get upset easily like Kana does. I also like Fluffy Boy Ranmaru.
Love me some Your Turn to Die because it's the perfect mix of a greedy death game and a cast of likable characters. Hashtag Buff Mishma's a mastermind.
My favorite thing about YttD is how the characters and story are all tied together well. Great cast and storyline that inspired me to have a story similar to this. The community is so lovely. Gin is adorable. Oh yeah, and all the murder. I like how a character can be written pretty well, but be a hateable person. I really enjoy games where different choices lead to different outcomes. The game also gives each character a good side and a bad side, making them more realistic and human, and the art style is so gorgeous and haunting. Perfect for this game. I love Hinako Mishuku. She's criminally underrated, and I would pick her to live with me out of the entire Your Turn to Die cast. I love her.
Your Turn to Die's ability to capture certain characteristics is absolutely stunning.
My favorite thing about Your Turn to Die is how it was entertaining from start to finish, and that it teaches children about majority votes. That's important for their future.
I love YttD because it helped me through a very rough patch in my life, and it's very important to me. Also, Maple exists, so how could I not love it?
Hi, this is Dwayne from the Boys YouTube channel, and we love Your Turn to Die because of the incredible community of creative, passionate, and talented people that it's fostered over the years. Also because of KG Shinogi's big, juicy, succulent Eggs Benedict. Shroom made me include that last part. Who am I kidding? I wrote that.
I love the astounding writing in this criminally underrated game. Thanks, Nankadai.
I love Your Turn to Die because not all of the characters are one-dimensional. They all have certain unique quirks and perks. Also, Reiko's hot.
Nankadai did a fantastic job making all the characters. Each and every one of them looks amazing and have fun personalities. The game's writing is amazing and the translation really helps to show that.
I was sold on Your Turn to Die the very first time I saw the introduction and the prologue. It creeped me out and it was amazing. And I knew right from the start, I am going to love playing this game.
It's like a darker Danganronpa, and I love it! I love Dat Burger Ass Kyutaro and Hinako a lot. Thank you for everything, Nankidai. I love the way YttD could never be beaten for the way it's written. It messes with your head so much. Happy anniversary, YttD. I love YttD because the soundtrack is really epic.
I love Gin.
In Your Turn to Die, every floor always has new and unique sub-games and main games you have never seen in a game before. Best visual novel of all time.
I really like Your Turn to Die because we can name Midori whatever we want, a cabbage or a jerk.
As a fan of both Zero Escape and Danganronpa, I found this game really great to play. And I love Maple's character design. I love how each action affects the characters in a realistic way. It makes you really feel connected to the game. Like when Joe dies or when you pick between becoming Weeby News or a Killing So.
Now, what I love about Your Turn to Die is Nankidai's ability to make you feel things for characters that are probably never going to be real. I would die for these people.
Ranmaru is my angle and my deviel.
Thank you for Your Turn to Die, Nankidai. It means the world to me. My anxiety's therapy. Also Sarah relatable for real. Thank you, Nankidai.
What I love about Your Turn to Die is how it exceeds all the expectations that I kept having throughout the game. It completely blows your mind. Frickin' play it. Now, you will not regret it.
Hinako. Hinako is really cool and a girl boss, and I love Your Turn to Die for that reason.
Forever grateful to Your Turn to Die for restoring my brain cells after Danganronpa series. One thing I really love about Your Turn to Die is Ginabushi. He's so precious. His game is such an inspiration to small creators who don't think making such a great thing on a small program is possible. Thank you, Nankidai. The art style got me begging on my knees. It's literally the most amazing thing I've ever seen. Like, as an artist myself, I'm blown away how amazing the character designs and even textures are. Also, Kana Supremacy.
I just love how everything is put together, especially the story and the characters and how they're written. My favorites are Joe, Mishima, and Kai.
One of the things I love is what they did with the Sowar at the end of 2-2, where it's the same position but different depending on who you killed.
My favorite thing about Your Turn to Die is character writing development. I find all the characters really interesting and well written, and most of them have come a really long way from when we were first introduced.
One thing I love about Your Turn to Die is the art style. The art is great at showing the characters' emotions and reactions to the events in the game.
Rimaru's hair. Rimaru's hair. His hair. Ah!
Fuck yeah, meow.
I love that Your Turn to Die isn't afraid to create some really irredeemable characters. They're so fun.
The game and creator are both cool. I don't particularly see anything to dislike/hate it, even if it makes it my turn to die inside. Happy 5th anniversary. I love Ryo and Ranmaru's characters in which they didn't die.
Ryo is such a sweetheart, I love him.
I like Your Turn to Die because of Gin, Keiji's arms.
Chapter 3b left me dehydrated and emotionally numb for hours, in a fun way.
Thank you, Nankidai, for creating Your Turn to Die. I love Now and Reiko. Love the story, the mystery, and the characters are great too. It cheers me up when I play it. Love Shin and Midori as an antag so much. Hashtag Game Protection Squad.
Hey, I'm Ryan Phantom.
I'm Isuvani.
And the reason we love Your Turn to Die is because...
Gay people.
Gin is my favorite character and I will do anything to protect my boy. Hashtag Gin Protection Squad. I love Midori unironically. He's the best antagonist of Your Turn to Die.
I love Now. She a cool character and could have gotten so much development if she survived. Anzu still lives.
Well, I absolutely love Kana and Gin. They must be protected.
Celebrating 5 years of Sara's mental health spiraling downwards.
Sara is honestly the perfect protag for the game.
Rio Ranger is the best character to ever exist.
The characters, the writing, literally everything is perfect about YttD. Thank you, Nankidai, for creating Your Turn to Die. I love Now and Reiko. Love the story, the mystery, and the characters are great too. It cheers me up when I play it. Love Shin and Midori as an antag so much. Hashtag Game Protection Squad.
One of the most well-written games I've ever played. I love this game so much.
I love the art and the style of the game.
I like that the game makes the player think that all of their choices matter, by adding smaller choices. It makes the player feel responsible for what mostly happens in-game.
Yo, it's Jay from Novel House here to say happy 5-year anniversary to Your Turn to Die. Shout out to Nanki Dai, my Nanki guy, for making this baller-ass game, and happy number 5.
Hey guys, it's Andy from Novel House, and I just want to say happy 5-year anniversary to Your Turn to Die. I also want to just give a huge thanks to Nanki Dai for making this incredible game, as well as bringing Joe Tazuna into the world. And also another huge thanks to the translation team.
Gin, my beloved. Happy 5th Annie.
I love Shin. Happy 5 years to my favorite game.
This game made me sob like a child. I adore it. Happy face.
I love Your Turn to Die because of how real the characters feel, and also just the community. Like, the fact that there's even a Your Turn to Die musical is freaking awesome.
I really like how Your Turn to Die is well written. It has been a roller coaster of emotions, how different the characters look, and how complex the whole game is. Thank you, Nankidai. If I were to list all the things I like about YttD, it would be the length of an encyclopedia. Thank you, Nankidai, for creating this amazing game. Ranmaru was gender envy, not gonna lie. I love how when a character dies, even in the beginning, we get to know more about the character later on in the game, so characters don't feel like an empty shell. Thanks, Nankidai. I'm happy Shin exists. Happy face.
Never a game had me haunted for 2 weeks with the horrors of hallucinations like Joe peeking in the darkness of my corners. That was fun. I felt very unsafe. Alicia Busame.
What gets me the most is the phenomenal writing. It really inspires me as an aspiring writer myself. It's just so interesting, in so many different ways. Thank you for creating this incredible game with so many unique characters. Thank you again. Happy face. Congrats to the only game that has Kai Sato and now a Gokuro. Funny big man who was a McDonald's menu item. Seriously though, Your Turn to Die has made me cry numerous times, and it gives me anxiety moments, but I still love the whole game. I cannot wait to see what comes next. Happy face.
The pixel art and other pieces of art, sprites, fancy pictures, are all really beautiful and make me happy.
This game has touched my heartstrings with such force. I have to keep replaying it over and over. And the OST, holy moly. I've cried so many times with some songs, and I'm not the crier type. Thanks, Nankidai! I really like how YttD is well written. It has been a roller coaster of emotions, how different the characters look, and how complex the whole game is. Thank you, Nankidai.
I like Eggs Benedict and Kai Sato.
YttD is one of my most favorite RPG Maker horror games, from its storyline, challenges, and so much more. The characters' designs are hella amazing. It's so hard to choose a favorite character, but if I had to choose, it's probably Kai Sato or Joe Tazuna. I love Nankidai's sketches. Cute sketches.
KG's arms are so long. Midori did nothing wrong. Safalin has that booty. Gashu makes me feel so fruity. Now has such a funny face. I'd invite Reiko over to my place.
I love Your Turn to Die because it's the only game that made me cry so hard in real life, and also the only game that has Busome.
My love for Nawagokuro is sky high.
Hi, it's VG Person, the game's English translator. One of the things that I think makes YttD work as a compelling story is how it aims to make every character important in some way. Whether it's by a connection to the overall plot, or a connection to other characters. This both makes anyone's death impactful, and ensures they remain a key part of the story even after their death. It's also interesting how the dummies serve the same purpose for the unmet victims, with a twist. And now we're down to the last 100. Last but not least. Let's go.
Gin is an amazing character.
Not only representation, but also how precious he is. YttD has been one of the most interesting games I've come across. The characters are so well written and it's difficult to not love all of them. I'm so glad I was able to experience playing this game. It hit my feels perfectly.
I love that all the characters aren't just one note. Now isn't just an artist, Kai isn't just a cook, Kyutaro isn't just a hunk of meat. They all have depth and they're all crucial to the plot.
The game is, well, a good game. I recommend it for those who like depth in a story.
I love the second main game as a whole. It fills you with all this hope and then destroys it right before your eyes. It was just so powerful, even if you already know what happens.
I just love what the game does with the pixel art, with all the things Nunkey does with it. The rooms in Chapter 3 are probably one of my favorites, with all the things going on.
This game may be simple in terms of gameplay and style, but the story and elements of this game is what made this game an entire masterpiece. Thank you, Mr. Nankidai, for the development of Kimigashine Return to Die.
Characters and atmosphere, a cool story and the soundtracks just make this game amazing.
I love Your Turn to Die because of the many routes and the different sides you get to see of the characters. The time and effort poured in shows how passionate Nankidai is about it.
Your Turn to Die is great because I find both story extremely attractive. I absolutely love this game to death. It means the world to me. It has been a blast to see these characters and this story develop through the years. Absolutely cannot wait to see what's to come in the next few years. Thank you so much, Nankidai.
The character designs are absolutely stellar. Everyone looks so unique and stand out in their own way. They overall look great in the game's art style. Thank you Ansu for reawakening my love for clown characters.
The music is so powerful and Your Turn to Die especially prayer.
I love the cast of Your Turn to Die so much because there's so many diverse characters. It's amazing how each character is unique.
I'm really fascinated by the idea of the AIs. What's the difference between the humans and AIs? What makes the Reiko AI bad and the Joe AI good? I love how it really tests your morality in the 4th chapter with the dummies of Maple. What's so bad about being a doll? So many questions, but no answer.
Your Turn to Die is great, especially because of the mass murders and killings and manipulation. But hey, look at this adorable furry boy that says woof after every sentence.
I guess in simple words I just really love YttD and appreciate everything about it. ESP all the wonderful people I met and friends I made because of it. Oh, and also Botsun, praise Botsun.
I love Your Turn to Die lots because it's got what I look for in games. A well-written story, really good characters, cool music, pretty art style, and all that good stuff. And KG's tits.
The community is really nice, compared to another killing game. Embarrassed smiley face.
Oh, Jino, let's go here. One of my favorite things about Your Turn to Die is the illusion of player agency that makes you feel even worse about the deaths. See ya.
The male characters are super hot. I'm talking specifically Mishima and Kyutaro.
Your Turn to Die is cool because of the way Midori does a little budgie.
I love Your Turn to Die because of the plot and the characters. I really like the art style a lot, and I feel like it inspired me a lot with my art when I first got into YttD, and it still kind of does now. Thanks, Nankidai.
I absolutely adore the game's art style. Renault is life. Thank you, Nankidai.
Thank you for developing this game and continuing to put so much into it after 5 years. It's a massive source of inspiration for me.
Not only do I love the fact that Your Turn to Die has an amazing cast of different personalities, different faces, and amazing chapters, I love the writing and script behind it all. Seriously, Nankidai really went all out on it. Thank you so much, Nankidai, and thanks for including me in this video.
How Inabashi is one of the best written chill characters in fiction!
Something I love about Your Turn to Die is how damn near every character is fully realized, versatile, purposeful, impactful, and never forgotten. Sheen in particular is one of my all-time favorites.
Hello, I'm Marlo, the host of Epilogue, a Your Turn to Die Zine. I love this game so much. The characters, the setting, the mystery, and how they're all intertwined is especially engaging. We also wanted to share what our contributors loved about the game. Thank you so much for your time. Here's to 5 years of Your Turn to Die. The characters, the dynamics, Alice Yabusame. The writing, I love how well the world, characters, and interactions are crafted.
The humanity in each of the characters. All of their choices and reactions within the story feel so real. It's a nice contrast to other games that may under-deliver when it comes to that type of thing. Also, George Hasner.
Ayasaka is the sexiest man alive, and I want him.
I love just watching everything unfold.
The characters and story are so interesting and engaging that I can't help but be invested.
It's such a relief to finally see a game properly portray charming characters and write characters as if they were real people. It helps you get more attached to worlds on screen even after they die. This game ruined my life.
I want that cabbage dead.
Hi, Saddle. That is quite literally my reason.
The dummies and dolls. I need them so bad.
The gameplay, the story, and many games work well together and everything feels so satisfying to play. Also only game with kimigashine.
The gameplay, the story, and mini-games work well together and everything feels so satisfying to play. Also only game with kimigashine.
Funky designs, characters, and game mechanics. The main game format is also very cool with how you can feel the intensity rising, Sem and Semik's beloved. And the dudes, man.
Every character feels so well crafted and proceeded forward obsessed with how Joe was able to be such a complex character. How they played with a best friend trope by showing his loyalty to his at the cost of everyone else's lives. His character is so good even though he only died in the first chapter. What a game!
I love how the characters all have their own sets of morals and ideals, all of them ex-open for better or for worse.
I love how every single character is so enjoyable. I also find it really cool how your actions and choices slowly start to affect the outcome of the game as you go along. Love this game with my whole heart.
Honestly, I was drawn in by the funky character designs and art style, and I stayed for the emotional devastation and my need to marry Rekko. The siblingisms, the green blings, the yabusames, the everything I love, angst I love, pain and suffering I love, found family. TBH, the writing is so good, like, I could rant for so long about just, one character, Shin, because they're all so multi-dimensional and none of them really fit into any particular stereotypes. It's so amazing. It's also really rare to find a game that handles trauma and mental illness so realistically, and Your Turn to Die delivers. 11 out of 10. This game absolutely ruined my life. I love good mysteries, and I am a sucker for death game storylines. In addition, I love that most of the characters have the capacity of doing very not great things, but also have the ability to do very heroic things. I could talk about it forever.
Your Turn to Die's cast is so uniquely charming in a way that leaves you emotionally attached. There's just something about the character development that really gets to me.
My favorite thing about Your Turn to Die has to be the characters. Each one of them has these little quirks that make them unique and special, from their designs to personalities. They're all complex characters that can and should be their own protagonists in their own spin-off games.
The fact that this whole game was made by one guy.
I like Your Turn to Die because it's like Among Us, but with lore.
My favorite thing about Your Turn to Die is how there is a vast variety of characters and how each of their personalities impacts the story in a different way.
When I say Your Turn to Die's characters and story have changed my life for the better, I mean it with utmost sincerity. Thank you, Nankidai.
I love how accessible Your Turn to Die is. It gives pretty much anyone with internet access the opportunity to play.
The characters are really fun to draw. And Alice is cool. Hashtag Alice Same Fan Club.
This game has brought me a lot of joy. Thank you, Nankidai. Also, I love Sheen.
I love that Your Turn to Die introduced me to so many cool and talented people. The characters in Your Turn to Die are amazing. Like, even the ones I don't like as much, I love the writing of.
Now and Rekko are love. Now and Rekko are life.
Madman is honestly such a banger, I love listening to it. Sarah is also the first character I like that I share a birthday with.
Nankidai gave us a girl who wasn't even supposed to be a participant, cried every day she was, and yet still managed to play her cards right and give us her first ending!
I love Your Turn to Die because of that joy I seen. It was just so moving. Oh my god.
I love Your Turn to Die because Shin is very special to me, I love him, and every character is incredibly well written. Also, Joe's just like me, so that's cool. Thank you.
I love Your Turn to Die because now Ego Koro is awesome.
I really like the characters and their designs, especially Mishima and Rika, because I think that they're kinda hot love. Also, I like the music.
The amount of foreshadowing in the game, like seriously. Who would have suspected that the Russian roulette minigame from the first chapter would be foreshadowing for Chapter 3's banquet? Excellent twist.
How much planning went into the story of this game? How almost everything paid off in the latest chapters.
I love the friends I've made along the way to fight. You guys are the coolest.
Your Turn to Die was introduced to me a while back, about a summer ago, and although it's a small game, I've really fallen in love with the story and the choices matter type trope. I'm so appreciative to be a part of this fandom. Everyone puts a smile on my face every day, and I'm so happy to be in this fandom with such a unique story and characters. Thank you, Nankidai.
Kid our baddest babies. Also canonically autistic and also Sir's mom collapsed on the floor. If you know, you know. Hi, Kazuma.
I just love Maple and the story.
Thank you so much, Nankidai, for creating this game. It impressed me a lot last year. The characters, scenarios, the dialogues were everything to me. A little art from my favorite artist now, Happy Face.
If there's one thing I gotta say about Your Turn to Die, it's the fact that the story is so engaging. When it comes to the mini games, when it comes to the choices, everything you do feels like it has consequences and feels like it impacts the story in some way. And I don't think any game is superior in that regard besides Your Turn to Die.
I love all of the unique designs and personalities of the characters, and how if they're a hero or villain, you can get emotionally attached to them in some way or another.
My favorite thing about Your Turn to Die is now. Just now. That was this girl.
I could easily spend hours telling you why I love Your Turn to Die, but it's mainly because it's a very special game to me, and because I really love Joe, he's the best boy ever, and I also really love Now, she's the best girl.
I love Your Turn to Die's soundtrack, particularly the songs Sunagu and Prayer, which offer the player a moment of respite and hope in an otherwise suspenseful and chilling death game.
My name's Yurei House, and my favorite thing about Your Turn to Die is just the fact that Nankidai worked on it all by himself and created Reiko. God, Reiko.
What I love about Your Turn to Die is the character design because of how fun to draw they are, but also the fact that it let me meet a lot of cool people who are really supportive of each other.
The fact that, despite the music being mainly composed of very short loops, the music never becomes boring or repetitive.
Televisa presenta.
I really like how the game was made the need to survive, but also choosing which path is the best for you and for the characters. Getting invested in the lore and how it ties together is interesting.
It's the only game that has Kei Heisaka and Shin.
I love Romaru, he was so cool and interesting, especially in Soul Route. This game is legit one of the best games I've ever played. There are many different routes and outcomes that are all executed amazingly, and not only is the game amazing on its own, but so is the art style and the characters. I couldn't hate any of them, even the one and only salad stick, Midori.
How much planning went into the story of this game? How almost everything paid off in the latest chapters?
What intrigues me the most about this game is probably the execution of their different relationships. Just the build-up, the dialogue, all the way to their climax.
One of the things I like the most about Your Turn to Die would probably be the routes and the fact that you can name Midori almost anything you want. The results tend to be hilarious.
Your Turn to Die is awesome because it gaslights you into loving all of its wonderful characters, only for them to get brutally murdered like 2 seconds later.
KG being let out of the coffin after an entire year was the highest moment of my entire existence.
Hi, my name is Teddy, and I just wanted to say I love the Yabusami siblings. I love them so much.
When it comes to Your Turn to Die, there are a lot of different factors that make it so widely popular. For me, the characters are one such aspect. They all have their own unique personality and role in the story.
What I love about Your Turn to Die is how absolutely lovable all of the characters are. And also KG and his arms. Have you seen them? Oh my god.
How the characters, my beloved.
This is my jam, Sora Chidoan!
Relatable doesn't seem like much, but is actually really vexing dope and super cool. We stand.
I'm really grateful to Your Turn to Die for having brought me to such a wonderful community. The music is awesome, the characters are great, the game is so wonderful. Congrats to YttD and Nankidai on the 5 years anniversary.
I'm sending out all the love to Miss Hanzu because she doesn't get enough love. I love her design, I love her character, I love everything about her.
The characters are so well-rounded and vivid with selfish but understandable motivations. They have the basic drive for survival, and it's not painted as evil in the narrative, just sympathetically.
What I love most about Your Turn to Die is the characters. They feel like real people, and even the characters I like the least are still great. The writing for characters like Sora and Shin is incredible.
Your Turn to Die is the only game where Rio Ranger can beat you up.
Now Gokuro is the best character to ever exist. I love her, I miss her, and I wish she got to smile more.
And my name is Gabby, and one thing I really love about Your Turn to Die is how Joe is such a good mom to Sarah, and I really wish she didn't die in Chapter 1.
I think the story, gameplay, and different routes make Your Turn to Die a very fun game.
I adore YttD's writing and story the most. Game mechanics are a close second.
Thank you, Nankidai, for creating Shin Tsukimi, the perfect man who I've been happily married to for many years.
There's a lot I like about Your Turn to Die, but I absolutely adore the characters. I love the musical inspiration from this game. It's one of a kind.
Ich habe noch nie besser geschriebene Charakter in einem Spiel gesehen und Midori hat nichts falsch gemacht.
My absolute favorite thing about Your Turn to Die has got to be the characters and all of their dynamics with each other.
I also really like the story and how it all wraps together.
I love how well the mechanics are in the main game, plus the main story development.
I love how character development in YttD isn't just a straight upwards line, but rather a chaotic up and down. People don't always develop in a positive way.
One of my favorite parts of the game is seeing how everyone suffers the longer they play. Thanks Nankai Day and happy 5th year anniversary.
How's it going, y'all? Name's KGOKev, as you probably know. These past few years with the YttD fandom have been pretty sweet, huh? Streaming the game to meet the characters, YttD Awards, Botsun tournament, and more. We've had good times, blessed times, cursed times, blurst times, and, well, truly has been a pleasure being a part of this community. I've met so many cool people from all over the worldo that, like, I would have gotten to meet on the normal circumstances without YttD. This game and this community truly mean a lot to me. So, with all that said, thank you guys from the bottom of my goddamn hearts. Happy 5-year anniversary, everybody. And remember, Midori did nothing wrong. Oh, you thought we were done? We got one more thing left here, y'all. Alright, folks, one final message. Check this out.
皆さんこんにちは。君がシネを制作しております南木大と申します。8月28日で君がシネの第1章前編を公開してから5周年を迎えました。ここまで制作してこれたのはもうファンの皆様に応援していただいたおかげです。本当にありがとうございます。現在完結に向けて頑張って制作を進めています。個人で作っているのでね、なかなかお待たせしてしまいますが、一日でも早く、皆さんにね遊んでもらえるように制作しておりますので、楽しみに待っていただけたら嬉しいです。今回こうしてファンの皆様にお祝いしていただけてとても嬉しいです。引き続き君がシネのね続報をお待ちいただきつつ楽しんでいただければと思います。ありがとうございました。南木大でした。
Thank you ever so much to Nankidai himself for joining up for our anniversary video. Happy 5-year anniversary, everybody! Thank you to everyone submitted for the vid. Make sure to like and subscribe, cause yeah, it was a big one, wasn't it? Here's some more great years to come for Your Turn to Die, Death Game by Majority. Thanks for watching, folks. This has been KGOKev, signing out. Have a great rest of your days. Peace out for now.